Drake and J. Cole have had one of the closest friendships in the industry. For over 15 years, their bond seemed like the one thing the rap game couldn't break. It was a brotherhood built on mutual respect that took them from the basement to the billion-dollar stage. We saw how close they were back in 2013 when Drake bought out a Best Buy just to support Cole's sales.
I'm gonna buy that too.
We're gonna take care of it.
And we saw it again in 2024 when they stood side by side as the undisputed kings of the Big Three. But as of February 2026, something has fundamentally shifted. While the world was busy watching the Grammys and tracking the release of Cole's new album, the silence between these two legends became deafening as a series of patterns, including leaks about Cole being called a double agent, to a blunt, forward response from Cole when asked about Drake's new project, started surfacing on the internet.
Cole, can we expect you an Iceman this month? Anything?
I don't know about that.
It finally reflected the quiet, painful conclusion of a decade-long alliance that defined an entire generation of hip-hop. But to understand why this happened, we have to go back to the time when things weren't so complicated. Their friendship started all the way back in 2010, right when both of them were being called the future of rap. They officially linked up for the song In the Morning, and you could tell right away that they actually liked each other. They were hanging out and showing up at each other's shows. Even though back then the rap game was divided between different camps, Drake and Cole made it look like you could be a superstar and still be a loyal friend. The biggest moment that showed how close they were happened in 2013. When J. Cole released his album Born Sinner, he was going up against Kanye West's Yeezus at the time. Most rappers would have just stayed quiet and focused on their own lane, but Drake didn't do that. You see, instead of just sending a message wishing him the best, he went to a 24-hour Best Buy in Union Square with Cole himself and bought every single copy they had on the shelf. They were literally walking through the aisles like regular people, picking up Cole's CD along with a few others by artists like Kendrick and The Weeknd. Drake ended up spending nearly $900 at the register just to support his friend's first week sales. For Drake, it wasn't about the money at all, but the statement. He wanted the world to know that if you messed with Cole, you were messing with him too. It's rare to see that kind of genuine support between two people fighting for the #1 spot, but for them, it was just what brothers did. For the next 10 years, that bond only got stronger. They became constant collaborators who pushed each other to be better. We even saw them share the stage at the Dreamville Festival, and we watched them praise each other in almost every interview they were on.
You to understand something. You are genuinely, without a doubt, one of the greatest rappers to ever touch a mic. And I want to let you know, it's way too many people in the world that think and know that J. Cole is at top on the pole position.
By the time they released First Person Shooter in 2023, it felt like they were the two undisputed kings of the rap game. They even went on a massive arena tour together, where they recreated the famous Messi and Ronaldo chess photo. It was a legendary run that made fans feel like this brotherhood would last forever. Everything seemed perfect as First Person Shooter showed how close they really were. It was a celebration of two friends who had made it to the finish line together. But that song actually ended up changing the whole energy of the rap industry. By calling themselves the Big Three, they accidentally started a war that they weren't prepared to fight as a team. When Kendrick Lamar responded with "Like That" in early 2024, the brotherhood was put to its first real test. At first, Cole did exactly what people expected to. He jumped in to defend himself and try to humble Kendrick and There by siding with Drake by default. On his diss track, he showed that he was ready to stand for what he believed in and put digs at Kendrick's career while he was at it. But then, just a few days later, the entire dynamic shifted when Cole went on stage at his Dreamville Festival and apologized to Kendrick. He basically said the beef didn't sit right with his spirit and that he was choosing to protect his peace of mind and his legacy.
Bruh, that was the lamest, like, goofiest shit. And I say all that to say, it made me feel like 10 years ago. You know what I mean? I pray that my nigga really didn't feel no way. And if he did, my nigga, I got my chin out. Take your best shot, I'm gonna take that shit on the chin, boy. Do what you do.
But in doing so, he unintentionally left Drake to fight the most intense battle of his career all by himself. While the entire rap industry seemed to turn against Drake, Cole did something that probably hurt more than a diss track, even though he didn't mean for it to be that way. He chose to distance himself and chose to not go that route. He prioritized being in peace with himself rather than be included in the beef. He also didn't use his platform to push back against the "not like us" wave that was taking over the world, turning everyone in the industry against Drake. I don't think he did this because he didn't want to support Drake, but he knew if he said something, everyone in the rap industry would be considering that as him siding with Drake and expect him to drop, which he want none off. Fast forward to now. The distance between J. Cole and Drake is the coldest it has ever been. For 16 years, they were a package deal, but as of February 2026, they are moving like complete strangers. Since the fall-off have dropped, Drake didn't say a single word to acknowledge it. It's just weird since he was always vocal when it comes to supporting his friends' album releases. For the first time, a major Cole project dropped and Drake acted like it didn't exist. But while Drake stayed silent on social media, his music started doing the talking. Recently, a new Iceman snippet leaked where he raps about double agents and people who pretend to be your friend but won't stand up for you. It's hard to see those lyrics as anything other than a shot at Cole. Drake has always been big on loyalty, and he clearly feels that when Cole apologized to Kendrick and sat on the sidelines, he basically picked a side. To Drake, being neutral when your brother is at war is the same thing as being an enemy. And also, as I mentioned before, this week during his Honda Civic tour around his city, J. Cole confirmed the end of their friendship when he decided to not respond. When a reporter asked Cole point blank if he'd be appearing on Drake's upcoming album Iceman, the energy was completely different than it used to be. Cole didn't smile or call Drake his brother. He looked caught off guard and gave a blunt answer.
Iceman this month? Anything?
I don't know about that.
It's hard to watch a friendship that lasted over a decade fall apart like this. We've seen these two go from hungry kids to the top of the mountain together, and for a long time, their bond was the most genuine thing in rap. Looking at where they are now, it's easy to think the damage is permanent. Between the double agent bars and the cold interview answers, the bridge seems to be burned on both sides. But in hip-hop, things can change with one phone call. We can only hope that eventually these two realize their history is more important than the drama of the last couple of years. They spent over a decade proving they were the best together, and hopefully they won't spend the rest of their careers proving they're better apart. Maybe things will go back to how they were, and for the sake of the game, we really hope they do. Anyways, it's been Distora. Until I catch you next time, stay safe.